Welcome to Tarik Talk, a podcast exploring art, culture, and the stories that shape creative lives. I'm your host, Tarik Mendes, and each episode I sit down with artists and creative thinkers to talk about process, inspiration, and the moments that shape who we become. Thanks for being here. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to Tarik Talk. Walking into the Whitney Museum during the 2026 Biennial, you're immediately aware that this is an exhibition built on transformation, of materials, of meaning, of the systems that shape everyday life. The Whitney itself, open to the city and grounded in the present, becomes a space where these transformations unfold in real time. Curated by Marcela Guerrero and Drew Sawyer, this biennial doesn't follow a fixed narrative. Instead, it moves through mood, through atmosphere, through relationships, between people, technology, ecology, and history. It's an exhibition that asks you not just to look, but to feel how art operates within larger systems. And Ash Arder's work sits right at the center of that conversation. Her installation Consumables immediately draws you in with something familiar. A refrigerator. But this is not just an everyday object. It's powered by solar panels located outside the museum, directly linking the work to energy systems, to sustainability, to the invisible infrastructures that support daily life. Inside the refrigerator, you encounter something unexpected. Cadillac hood ornaments, symbols of luxury, stability, and industrial power, are recreated in materials like butter, shea butter, and chocolate. These are substances that nourish, that melt, that decay. They are temporary, fragile, and deeply physical. There's a tension here that you can't ignore. On one hand, you have the imagery of permanence, automotive emblems tied to industry, legacy, and status. On the other, you have materials that are perishable, that resist longevity, that exist in a constant state of change. And that contrast becomes even more personal. Arder modeled these objects after a keepsake hood ornament from her late father's car. He worked for General Motors, the parent company of Cadillac. So within this industrial symbol, there's also memory, family, and inheritance. The work becomes both intimate and systemic at the same time. You're not just looking at sculpture, you're looking at a layered reflection on labor, legacy, and value. And then there's the element of time. Because these materials won't remain the same. They soften, they shift, they break down. The work exists in a state of transformation, reminding you that even the most solid-seeming systems, economic, industrial, personal, are not fixed. In another work, Broadcast Number 4, Arder expands this idea even further. Here, the concept of broadcast takes on multiple meanings. An analog synthesizer emits a low, rhythmic frequency, filling the space with sound that feels almost physical. At the same time, seeds are dispersed across trays of soil. Sound becomes action. The vibration translates into movement, into growth, into something that extends beyond the gallery. These seeds can later be planted, turning the installation into a living archive, something that carries both sonic and biological information into the future. It's a powerful rethinking of communication. Broadcast is no longer just about transmitting information through media. It becomes about propagation, about life, about continuity. The work blurs the line between technology and nature, between signal and seed. And this is where Arder's work connects deeply to the Whitney Biennial as a whole. This exhibition is filled with artists exploring how systems, technological, ecological, social, shape the way we live. Arder doesn't just represent those systems, she activates them. She makes them visible, tangible, and experiential. The Whitney space enhances this experience. You move between indoor and outdoor elements, between light and sound, between static objects and living processes. The museum becomes part of the work, just as the work extends beyond the museum. And as you spend time with Arder's installations, you begin to feel a shift. A shift in how you understand value. A shift in how you think about permanence. A shift in how you see the relationship between human systems and natural cycles. Because in the Whitney Biennial 2026, Ash Arder's work isn't just about objects, it's about transformation. And the realization that everything we build, inherit, and depend on is always in motion. Thank you for spending this time with me on Tarik Talk. If this conversation resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe and share the episode. You can follow along on social media for behind-the-scenes moments, guest highlights, and what's coming next.